Supporter of the New World, or the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop. The link is in the Instagram bio, where you can actually purchase paraphernalia, things with our logo on it, shirts, pants, or with our themes, you know what I'm saying? Raise the consciousness level up of those around you, and even yourself when you're looking in the mirror. Go ahead and get something from there. Support us as we continue to support y'all, giving y'all this real. Now, you have protests all around the country this past weekend, basically against Asian American hate. You know, this is all in the wake of that mass shooting that took place last Tuesday, where in Atlanta, this white boy, Robert Aaron Long, bugged the fuck out and went to these spas that were owned by Asian Americans and started spraying. Ended up killing 8 people and badly wounding 9, another one. Where you had all of the names were released. Actually, you had one of the ones that were deceased was a Paul Andres Michels. And then you actually had one that was put in critical condition, Elcia Hernandez Ortiz, this woman. Other than them two, everybody else, and they had like Asian names, basically, or whatever. So, you know, it's obviously an intense thing, and it's looked at as an Asian hate crime right now, especially by the Asian American community. So they have protests down in Atlanta. Also, you had Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Asian American community there. Also, even in New York, they had protests out there as well and demonstrations. So all of this going on, but right now, lawmakers and investigators are looking into the FBI director last week, Christopher Wray, saying that the attack was not racially motivated. It's like, how do you know? You know what I mean? Now, when the Cherokee County Sheriff's Department spokesman said something very similar last week, it sounded kind of racist. And this was somebody that was actually caught on their social media spreading anti-Asian like hate on social media and all of that, whatever. So it was looked at kind of crazily. But now Christopher Wray saying that, not racially motivated, could it be that the whole Asian American community has actually been gassed to think that there's one thing going on when really maybe it's a MK Ultra mission? Who knows? You know, I do think we should look into those, because when there's like no purpose behind it, it's just eerie, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we got to look into this. Also, tomorrow you have the Senate Judiciary Committee actually having a hearing on reducing gun violence in the U.S. Keep in mind that this dude, Robert Aaron Long, he actually had purchased a 9mm like just hours before he even went on his killing spree. So that's the climate right now we in. You got Joe Biden trying to get Congress to pass the COVID-19 hate crimes bill. So we will see how all of this turns out. Green Wall and graduation. Supporter of the New World, or the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So we got the Oxford Astrazeneca vaccine. You know, it's one of the first I think it's the first vaccine to be approved in the United Kingdom or whatever. And recently it's been in the news because it's been concerns over the vaccine causing blood clots, with one person even dying in Denmark. So it caused the chain reaction of countries that had suspended the usage of the COVID-19 vaccine from Oxford AstraZeneca. Well, they actually underwent a large United States clinical trial, and it turned out to have what I guess are considered favorable results. 79% efficacy against symptomatic carriers of COVID-19, and 100% effective in preventing serious illness as well as death in the trial, you know, for people who have COVID-19. So it looks like there'll be the 4th vaccine to actually get emergency use authorization, right? Submit a request for such from the Food and Drug Administration here in the United States. We will see how that turns out. Keep in mind, still there's over a dozen countries that have, at this past month, shut down the distribution of this vaccine. And you have America too, that's planning on actually shipping the doses of the vaccine that they have left over, 4 million doses, to Mexico and Canada, because out of not wanting to be accused of vaccine hoarding. So I don't know, maybe the tables will turn after these clinical trials. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, actually says that 1 in 6 U.S. adults spouse has now been vaccinated, have had a dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, you actually have the states Mississippi and Alaska making it such that if you're 16 and older, you can now get vaccinated. And in Florida, Floridians 50 and over can start getting vaccinated today. So I guess you got to make whatever decision makes sense to you. You know, to each his or her own. Stay woke though. Green War and graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. You actually have and the CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, actually putting out new guidelines for schools who are dealing with COVID-19, saying that in elementary schools, 3 feet social distancing is actually enough for them, even though the teachers should still remain 6 feet apart, and mask wearing should still be required. Now in New York City specifically, they have actually reopened high schools today, even though there's warnings that these COVID numbers are still high, dangerously high in certain areas, even comparable to what the numbers were during the winter, you know, the dark winter that Biden said we had ahead of us, right? So also in Miami, you have them imposing this emergency curfew after they said, like, you know, spring break revelers, so they say, came in and, you know, brought chaos and disorder, or caused chaos and disorder in a way that actually ignited fears of there being super spreader events. So we will see how this turns out. Green War and graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So you have Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. What they all got in common? They got these COVID-19 vaccines out, right? Well, apparently they've been actually trying not to profit off of the pandemic, but they're planning on hiking these COVID-19 vaccine prices as soon as the pandemic is officially over. Now, you have health experts saying that COVID-19 will likely become an endemic, meaning that it's just going to be something that's regularly around and people are going to have to get regular shots for it. Something like the flu. So with that being said, there's a lot of money said to be made off of these companies. If you individual and your moral compass allows for you, maybe you might want to invest. I don't know. But it should be understood that Astrazeneca, who also vowed not to profit off of the pandemic, they could declare COVID-19 as a pandemic to be over as early as July. Green War and graduation. Streets report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So over in Pakistan, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has actually tested positive for COVID-19. This is 2 days after he's been vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? So you actually have Pakistan that's now hitting its 3rd wave of COVID-19. And shit, they gotta catch up to us, you know what I'm saying? We headed for a 4th, you know? But that all awful jokes aside, you have other countries like Chile, for example. They've experienced their highest coronavirus daily infection rate yet, their daily caseload, and this is coming after they've actually been relatively successful in vaccinating their population. 15% of their population is fully vaccinated. However, health officials are reporting that a quarter of the deaths in Chile so far this year have been due to COVID-19. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So around the world, COVID-19 news. Over in, well, it turns out that the United States Health and Human Services Department put out a report that says that the Trump administration health officials are actually pressuring Brazil not to accept Russia's Sputnik V vaccine. Now, this is obviously frowned upon because you put in geopolitical concerns over safety, even though that might have been what was efficient for them. Also, in Tokyo. So Tokyo is actually hosting the Olympics this year. They were supposed to do it last summer, but it's coming this July, and they actually have barred international spectators. They're pushing ahead with having the event, even though health experts are warning against it. So I guess they want all the press coverage and all the bans that's going to come with that. Also in Europe, you have France and Poland being the latest countries to actually shut down amid a COVID-19 surge in these countries. So they're having partial lockdowns on their countries. We'll see how this turns out. France being one of the countries that just started reinstating the After suspending it shortly, now they're back to distributing the Astrazeneca vaccine. But I digress. Green War on Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So you have Alejandro Mayorkas. This is actually the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. He appeared on multiple news shows over this past weekend, essentially saying that the U.S. border is closed. It is effectively closed. They are expelling adult families. They're expelling single adults. They are not going to expel young, vulnerable children, apparently. That's what he said across these news platforms. Keep in mind, this is like, it's a heavy influx of immigration. Well, I won't say heavy influx. I'm going to say it shows no sign of slowing down. So right now, there's over 15,000 unaccompanied minors being held by U.S. officials, with over 5,000 of them being held at Customs and Border Patrol jails. So you have the news outlet Axios. They're actually saying that over 800 children have currently been detained for over 10 days. That mark is 4 times what it was just last week. So no signs of slowing down. Again, everybody stay woke. Green War on Graduation. The Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So Defense Secretary, Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin actually arrived yesterday night in Afghanistan for an unannounced meeting with President Ashraf Ghani. Now, he's actually going to meet with them, and this is the first time since President Biden has actually said that they're considering not honoring this agreement that the United States had with Afghanistan under the Trump administration to withdraw all U.S. troops by May 1st, 2021. So you also have Secretary of State Antony Blinken that's actually meeting with NATO officials, NATO being North American Treaty Organization. Keep in mind, he's meeting with them in Brussels, Belgium to discuss the same matter, on whether they are actually going to remain in Afghanistan or not. There are 3,500 U.S. troops in Afghanistan, 6,500 NATO troops there. And this is 20 years removed from the U.S.-led invasion of Afghanistan. We'll see how this all turns out. Green War and Graduation. What other New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. Over in Turkey, you have a bunch of human rights groups coming down on the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, for deciding to withdraw from the Istanbul Convention. This was going to be the world's first binding treaty for combating violence against women and women's rights. So it was obviously at the very least supposed to be a statement, you know what I'm saying? Could have even been a metaphor, a symbol, or whatever. Motherfucker decided to withdraw, so that sends its own message, and people are not having it. You have women protesting all over Istanbul. Now you also have United Nations numbers that say that 40% of women of Turkish women have actually report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So you actually have over in Syria, there was actually 6 people left dead after some Syrian military had shelled a hospital in the rebel-controlled city of Aleppo on Sunday. 6 people were dead, like I said, one including a child and medical workers and all of that. So this is even happens as there was a peace deal brokered by Turkey and Russia in March of 2020. So it kind of goes against that, not kind of, and because ain't no peace in that shit. And it's crazy because Physicians for Human Rights actually has documented over 600 attacks on healthcare facilities by Syrian military and its allies since the start of the civil war over there a decade ago. So they not playing fair, because that you talking about essentially war crimes, you know what I mean? Green War and Graduation though. Brief report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So a 2-year-old girl in Spain who had arrived there with dozens of others by boat to the Canary Islands has actually died. Her name was Nabadi. She was from Mali. And this story is important because her coming from Mali, you know, the boat's been trying to come from Africa, trying to get over into Europe. And but 2, she actually died. She's one of 10 people who came from there, more than half of them children, who actually died, who actually caught hypothermia when they came over. You know what I'm saying? So that lets you know the dire conditions that they're willing to go through just to get out of the continent of Africa and into Europe. You know what I mean? And that's that refugee shit going on across the Mediterranean and all of that, man. Shit is Green War and graduation, though. This reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. You actually have over in Israel the largest protest actually to come out yet against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. That actually took place this weekend, this Saturday actually out there, and they're basically seeing this as their last chance to protest him go ahead of this Tuesday's national elections. This will be the 4th election in 2 years. It keeps ending up as like a tie between him and his party and Benny Gantz's party or whatever. Like they even had a power sharing deal, but these elections are going on amid corruption trial that's going on for Netanyahu, you know what I mean, who has like 3 actual corruption type situations going on against him. So the people are protesting loudly. They want him out of there anyway. We'll see how this turns out. All the while, initially the protesters were condemning the government's response to COVID-19, but Netanyahu hoping to change that with the quick rollout of the vaccines that they got going on. All the while, I'm sure he's hoping that it's business as usual with the killing of Palestinians. They just killed a 42-year-old Palestinian this past weekend from him just being out there protesting in the occupied West Bank. You know what I mean? Protesting illegal settlements. So, you know, that's what's going down. I guess they want to keep that going on. Green War and graduation, though. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. Shit getting dark out here, but as long as you could see at least a silhouette of me and hear my words, you know what I mean? That's the silhouette, so you know it's me, and the words is for this knowledge I'm about to drop on you. So over in Tanzania, that's in Africa for you dumb motherfuckers, but just keeping y'all on y'all toes. But in Tanzania, though, you actually have Samia Suluhu Hassan, who actually was the nation's vice president, now making history as the nation's first woman president. And this comes after John Magufuli, though, a former president, had actually died. So she's coming in and is going to serve out the rest of his term. So you have her actually now being tasked with to determining what Tanzania's response to COVID-19 is going to be, when Magufuli before her was actually an avid denier of COVID-19 even being a thing, and you know, not going against putting out any public health measures or whatever. And people suspect that he died from COVID-19. So, you know, this should be interesting. But yeah, there you have it, a woman president of you know, prominent African country. Green War and graduation. News reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Had to bring it indoors for a little bit, but just make sure y'all can keep up with me though. Over in Pakistan, the Pakistani court actually sentenced 2 men to death after they had a major rape case that outraged the whole country and brought about a lot of protests last year. See, the 2 men, they basically caught this woman stranded with her car that didn't have enough gas, and they basically abused her and gang raped her in front of her own children. You know what I'm saying? So, and at the time, you had the Lahore police blaming the woman for traveling at night without a male companion, as well as not having enough gas to get through her entire trip. Now, both things should be noted. Like, if you're a woman out here traveling, you ain't gotta be Pakistan. You can be in the United motherfucking States. Those are ways not to travel if you're a woman. But, however, that is no excuse. You don't blame a woman for getting gang raped, like, for some shit like that. Like these niggas need to be out here not doing heinous, satanic shit. You know what I'm saying? Green War and graduation, though. News reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. Damn, Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, he got some shit coming after him, man. It just seems to keep bubbling as far as the trouble that he's surrounded by. The FBI is reportedly opening up an investigation into Cuomo's role in shielding health executives
hospital health industry executives from liability over the amount of deaths that took place in nursing homes. See, the protection started in April of 2020 when the Greater New York Hospital Association and its executives actually gave $2 million towards Cuomo's campaign. So that's troubling. And then they're also investigating into Cuomo's top aides being accused of pressuring state health officials to cover up the true numbers of deaths that took place due to COVID-19 in these nursing homes. So these two sound very much connected. We will see. But all of that is, the backdrop of that is, there's an 8th woman actually coming out against Cuomo, accusing him of sexual harassment. This time it's one of his current aides, Alyssa McGrath, who's accused him of like unwanted sexual advances. Says she ogled her body, like basically looking at her like he trying to fuck something like ASAP or whatever, and then was just making unwanted sexual advances and remarks and just stuff she wasn't feeling apparently. So you have a Lindsay Boylan who was a former aide. She actually spoke to a crowd this Saturday in Manhattan, whatever. She's calling on New York legislature to impeach him. She was basically saying when she spoke to Truth to Power in December about the harassment and the bullying that she faced, that basically it was they tried to make it hard for her, and she basically said that while the governor should have been focused on leading us out of the pandemic, he was busy trying to cover up the deaths of 15,000 New Yorkers and essentially silence her. So we will see how this story pans out. It doesn't look like it's going to be pretty though. Green Wall and graduation. Police report out in the world, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So in Western New York, you actually have Republican U.S. Congressmember Tom Reed apologizing to a female lobbyist for basically his unwanted sexual advances. Nicolette Davis is the woman, and she actually accused him of drunkenly rubbing her back and then also unhooking her bra and moving his hand to her thigh while they were at a public gathering at a bar in Minneapolis in 2017. Now, Reed said that he will not seek re-election for this upcoming term. He's just going to finish out this term and that's it. But oddly enough, Reed was one of the elected officials that was actually calling on Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, to resign. So here he is in a weird situation with the sexual harassment, whatever, and it's just like, man, he really thought he was moving a second base on that one. Like, what's that about? Like, but nevertheless, he also was somebody that was talking as recently as last month about running for governor for 2022. So I guess that's out. Green Wall and graduation though. Report out of the world, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. You actually have a Julia Letlow. Shout out to her, Louisiana Republican congressmember who actually won a specialized election for the seat after it was vacated by the death of her husband, Luke Letlow, who died in December of COVID-19, right before he would have gotten his freshman term in Congress. So Julia will be taking the reins on that. And I say shout out to her because I think that's just a strong position to be in. Your husband died from disease, and you immediately not only have to get through the morning, but you also have to fill his shoes politically, for society. Now, granted, maybe if y'all wasn't so far right, maybe y'all would have taken some measures that protected y'all against COVID-19. I don't know. But also in Louisiana, you have the Democratic Congress members in the seat of Cedric Richmond. They're actually trying to fill that seat after he's been assigned to the White House Office of Public Engagement. So we'll see how this all turns out. Green Wall graduation. Report out of the world, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So New York Congress members Nydia Velázquez and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have actually introduced a bill to the House of Representatives that would allow for Puerto Rico to choose its statehood, whether it wants to be a state in the U.S. or whether it wants to be independent from the U.S. Now, New Jersey's Bob Menendez actually introduced the bill to the Senate. And, Ocasio-Cortez basically says a colony is incompatible with democracy, and she's absolutely fucking right. We will see how this should be interesting, how PR comes around. And Puerto Rico is part of why a lot of these motherfuckers mess up the question on how many states are in the United States. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what turns out from this green wall and graduation. Report out of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop to support the movement. Also check out /music. You can support the movement in that way and definitely get some hot music from us. Black Fox News as the company. We have the compilation album called New World Order, or you can get solo projects from myself, and there's other projects to come. Also make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/LPay. Let's post about it. It's actually our own social media platform, and go ahead and get ahead because we got perks on the way coming from it. A new tutoring platform being built. So rock with us as we continue to rock with y'all. Just giving y'all an update. This past Friday, youth activists from around the world actually had a global climate strike, and this is after taking a year off from doing so due to COVID-19. Remember, it all started by Greta Thunberg, this teenage Swedish girl who was, protesting every Friday trying to get her government to hold itself accountable for what was going on in the climate, and then it started picking on in other places, whatever. They even had demonstrations out there in Kenya this past Friday, whatever. So it was really on and popping. They're just trying to get the governments to fulfill their promises of cutting carbon emissions and to treat the climate crisis